Well, my name's Alex. Thank you, Michael. So I'm a small business. There are 12 people on my staff, including myself and my father. So my father started the business in 1981, and now we are strictly e-commerce. So basically, when I asked to talk today, I wanted to talk to specifically other merchants about how you can use Magento Enterprise without a massive budget, specifically without an in-house tech team. I have nobody on my staff that does anything in Magento other than one assistant who just adds a new product to the site, and that's just basically data entry. So everything I do and do with the site, I do through certified partners, all of which I've met at previous Imagines in the marketplace over there. So in 2015, just some numbers so you know the size of our operation, we'd had 46,000 transactions, 17% are international. We average 155,000 unique visitors a month, so we're highly trafficked. And we're #1 SEO for everything we sell, mostly because we don't really have many competitors, but we do program it pretty well. So if you're looking for something we sell, usually we are #1. Now, the core of our business is Magento Enterprise, and we've been on Magento for a long time. We first launched Community in 2010. 2012, we upgraded to Enterprise. 2014, we went responsive, and the next step is 2.0 whenever I can afford it. So I'm a one-man band. That's how I like to refer to it. I have no in-house tech team, as I said. And today I'm going to focus on marketing, user experience, and security. And the partners that I talk about today, mostly Cora, Listtrack, and Celebros, understand these are the people I work with. They're the people I trust, and they've been good for my business. It doesn't mean that they're the only people you can use, because for every Celebros, there's an SLI. There's a million search ones that are all very good. But it's important when you choose a partner that, especially if they're here, you generally can trust them. There might always be cheaper options, but in my experience, certified Magento partners are the only people I will allow to touch my site. And overall, we have a technology ROI of, it's actually way past 1,000%, but for this presentation, I said 1,000. We began in 1981. It was strictly mail order. 2 years after I joined the company, my father was running newspaper ads. He was spending $10,000 a month on newspaper ads. In 2013, at Imagine, I met Listtrack at the marketplace. By 6 months, we cut all print advertising, and essentially I chose Listtrack for their depth of integration with Magento. So we don't, while it is email marketing, we also use them for the entry and exit modals. Now these are, you see these on a lot of sites. I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I am deploying technology that if you're not using this, you should be. This is not complicated to do, but these are the numbers that we get from it. We do offer an incentive. So this is that pop-up that you see when you first come to our site. Save 5% on your first order, up to $1,000. So you'll save $50. When we do this, our subscriptions grew from 45,000 to 80,000 in 18 months. We are currently getting 12,000 new subscribers, netting them 1,200 a month, and our current subscriber list just passed 100,000. We also use Listtrack for automated product recommenders. Now, one of the big kind of issues I have is when we're setting up new products. We do about 20 to 25 new products a week. If you are familiar with the admin panel, you can go in and set other products that you want to display on the product page and the shopping cart page. I don't have time. I just can't do it. So when Listtrack announced an automated product recommender, it took all of that off my plate. I can set up a product. I don't have to. I assign it to categories, and I leave it. And then in time, and usually within about an hour, those product recommendations are automatic based on that product, not only based on that category, but based on user experience going through the site. If something is commonly clicked on after they visit that product will be served. It's changing all the time based on who you are, how often you come to our site, how you're getting in there. It understands all these things, and most importantly, I don't have to do it. These product recommendations have a 2% conversion. Our site's only 1%, a 9% click-through rate, 18% increase in on-site revenue from the day we put it in. Immediately, we saw an 18% lift, and a 72-time ROI. weekly newsletters. We used to just do these every 2 weeks. We now do them every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Because, and so this is just the top of our newsletter, I feature 22 products, so they'd be listed down here. I didn't have enough room on the screen. This used to take me about 4 hours to build, because when I was using a different email client, I was having to take product images and resize them, and then embed them, and put a link in, and write the title, and put the price on. Now, all I do is go into the list track portal, I assign a SKU, a series of SKUs, and it populates by itself. It takes me 15 minutes. So I saved a half a day from my week just by doing that. Our emails have a 35% open rate, 18% click-through rate, 7% conversion rate. These emails gave us 29% increase in gross revenue, 159 ROI. And we also just launched, so these go every Saturday morning. On Wednesday nights now, so these Saturday mornings at 6 a.m., on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. every other week, because I'm a little afraid of oversaturating my clients, we do an automated just for you. So this actually is me giving the power to the product recommender to just choose whatever it thinks that customer would like. And that is now at a 225 times ROI. Abandoned campaigns. Look, most people are doing abandoned cart, and if you're not, you have to be. Another thing that we're doing is browse and abandon, which we just launched. So ads, if we have you cookied, if you've been to us and we have your email, about half an hour after you leave our site, we will suggest the product that you saw, but we don't stop there. Again, I got cut off on this screen, but these recommendations are based on the items you viewed all the way on the left, on the bottom. There's another 16 items. So even if they don't want that in their cart, we're giving them, again, another 16 items that we think are related. And I'm not doing any of the work. It's all automated. And the numbers speak for themselves. So a 12% increase in on-site revenue since we launched our abandon campaigns, 32 times ROI, and the browse and abandon is a 28-time ROI. Post-purchase campaigns. Somebody buys something, we still want to keep that connection with the customer. So 3 weeks later, when we know, because we also have international customers, sometimes shipping transit times take a while, we send a thank you email with a 3% coupon code. Now, people may not get too excited about 3%, but I'm not doing it really for the 3%. I'm doing it to show them more products they can buy. So again, every email that I send to a customer always is embedded with multiple products that they might like based on category, user patterns, and these emails, our win-back campaign has a 5%. So the win-back happens if you haven't been to our site in 3 months. We'll send you something to hopefully get you back. 5% increase in on-site revenue and a 15 times ROI. So user experience and with on-site search and responsive design. So default Magento on-site search is Solar. I am not a fan of Solar, and for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it takes my time to configure properly, and I don't have time. What you're looking at here is a search result page using Solar. So what we found is our customers, 75% are over the age of 40. What we sell, many people have different terms for it. So we'll sell a World War II helmet. Well, the guy's grandfather, who was in World War II, that guy always called it a pot helmet. Well, the actual technical term by the US Army is an M1 helmet, but then somebody else uses M-1 for the helmet. So it's impossible for me to figure out exactly what anybody might call this in vernacular. I didn't have time, and so I wanted something to do it for me. So I found, so we struggled with the manual assignments, we struggled with Solar, and I met Celebros again in the marketplace, and they offered an intelligent concept-based search. It understands a shopper's intent. That's the biggest thing. I needed it to learn over time. If it was called a pot helmet, I needed it to also show up when they search for M1 helmet. And I also needed accurate results on the first page. One thing I forgot to say, I'm going to go back a slide. Can I go back? Oh, yes. This is a search result for Martini. You'll notice the prices of these things. This is from years ago, $34.95, $144.95. These are parts. A Martini is a the first infantry rifle used by the British Army in the 1870s. I don't want my customers, when they search Martini, to find parts. I want them to find the rifles. So all of a sudden, with Celebros, understanding the shopper's intent, understanding mostly what I want to sell, the valuable things came up to the top of the first page. So this $795 flagship item is first. The parts have moved down the page. It took 15 minutes for me to figure that out, and it went all the way across the site, and it worked so well that we got a 0.2% lift in overall site conversion. It saved days of effort. You see how it says Martini for sale. So this page is a search results page, but I changed Martini for sale to actually make it look like a category page, and we linked category and search. So when you come to my site, you might feel like you're going through categories, traditional categories. You're not. You're actually, everything's a search page. But when you show Google that they're search pages, Google deprecates them. They don't value search pages in the same way they value category pages. So I switched it. You're not going to see search results for Martini anymore. You're going to see Martini for sale and one helmet for sale. Now they're treated as category pages, and our SEO actually increases. And it took 3 minutes to do it. Responsive design. This was definitely had the most impact for us in the last 2 years. We partnered with Cora. We did a full custom design, and we launched it October 1st, 2014. So the numbers going to show you are from Q4 2014 versus Q4 2013 before we had responsive. 179% increase in mobile revenue, 163% increase in mobile transactions. The return on investment, the revenue gain just with mobile, so just people buying on a mobile device from 2013 to 2014, only in the fourth quarter, was double the product cost to put in responsive, and it paid for itself in 45 days just with mobile. Best money ever spent. Tablet, we also saw a 30% increase in tablet revenue, 45% increase in tablet transactions, and also the redesign did just give us a bump in desktop as well. So the site looked better, looked cleaner, it was easier to navigate, and people showed us by buying more. Security's sort of like, well, in 2015, we got a letter from Visa. And it said, you may have been a victim of common point of purchase. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, essentially that is what they're saying is people came to your site, they had legitimate transactions. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, 2 months later, those cards got stolen. And the one thing that's happening to all these customers, the one thing they have in common is you. So it's your fault. Now, we didn't have any data leaks that we knew. The letter then said we had to investigate our system and contain the incident, and failure to contain this may result in additional action from Visa, like a forensic audit, and fines can be imposed. Now, for those of you who don't know what a forensic audit is, it's a nightmare. It's horrible. You're treated like a criminal. You have to submit all your code, all your logs. They go through everything. Your site slows down, and you never want to be there, and it costs tens and tens of thousands of dollars. So horror ensues. My first reaction is it can't be true. Why can't it be true? Because I have McAfee Secure, and I get a daily email. I'm hacker safe. Everything's clean. I have Symantec, SSL. How could that be a problem? I'm passing. I have Control Scan, PCI compliance with penetration testing. I go through the PCI compliance questionnaires every year. There are 240 questions. If you've not done one, it's awful. And then they come and they penetrate test my site every 3 months. I passed. So how the heck was I getting losing data leak? So more horror ensues. So this is the response. Cora was basically, when anything goes wrong, I pick up the phone and I call my solution partner, which is Cora. They did a full code audit. Then, before Visa was going to do anything for me, I thought I'd be proactive and figure out how to do my own forensic audit. So I hired a company in England called Forgenics, and they did a sort of a light forensic audit. And I use my own cards on my site. I've always used my own cards. I use it about every 2 weeks. I use mine, I use my wife's, I use my father's, just to see. I like to also check out, just make sure there's no bugs, see what the flow is like. But also, if my card gets stolen, I have an idea. Maybe that'll happen. Nothing was found. So now I'm in a position of, they've told me this is happening. I've done everything I can to find it, and there's nothing there. And it's a terrible position because you're spending so much money, you're spending so much time, but you don't know what to do next. And then I'm just waiting for the second letter from Visa saying you're suspended, you have this fine, and you have to notify all your customers that their data has been stolen. Thankfully, that didn't happen because on November 16th of 2015, at about 11 o'clock Eastern time at night, I was sitting in bed and I got this email from Magento. Your site is impacted, act now. Now, this was that malware that's been going around. They also wrote an email about it about 2 weeks ago. What these guys did is somehow they got access, and I still don't know how, but they put in a little piece of code in our footer. Now, when we were looking in the forensic audit, the code audit, we were actually looking for 2 places that they could have stolen some data, either from the transmission, or were they actually pulling the cards and storing them somewhere in our database that we weren't seeing? They didn't do either of those. But they put some code in the footer on a CMS page, which we didn't look at because we didn't know it could happen. And that code basically, of 3,500 lines of code on my home page, this code was 20 lines. It looked totally innocuous. And as somebody keystroked in their card, it took a screenshot and pinged it to a server in Ukraine. I found it in 30 seconds, and it was out 2 minutes later. I install all the security patches within 3 days. I don't let anyone on my site other than me and my solution partner, but it happened. And the reason I'm even talking about it is because we have this was a bad year for security in Magento. But thank God they are releasing the patches. If you are not putting in the patches, you are rolling the dice so badly, and I equate it to like venereal disease. 1 in 5 people in their lives get VD. Nobody talks about it. Nobody admits it, and you don't even know which doctor to go to. It's the same type of embarrassment and shame, and So that's why I wanted to talk about it here, because I had to deal with it. But from my standpoint, I did everything right, and it still happened. So the way it was resolved, we still don't know exactly how it was introduced. We don't know if data was exposed. I never had a customer come back. I never heard from Visa again. So obviously, we cleaned it up. And I never had many of my personal cards stolen, though they easily could have been. So a long story short, we were really lucky. But I spent in excess of $50,000 for nothing. So, oh, there it is. Here's what I should have done. I should have called Magento. And it didn't occur to me, as silly as that sounds. And I think it didn't occur to me because I've been a client of Magento since 2010, and Magento's changed a lot, right? I mean, it's a different company than it was in 2010, literally and figuratively. I was trained not to ask Magento because they weren't really there for support. It was only core code. That's what they would support. I was trained to ask my solution partner. Well, that's not the case anymore. Magento's there. Not only were they there, I did a keynote presentation last year. As soon as Mark and Ben Presley heard about this, they called me on my cell phone and said, "We're so sorry you went through this. What can we do to help? Did you ever call support?" I said, "No, it didn't even occur to me. I'm an idiot." So if you have a suspicion of anything, I would encourage you, first and foremost, ask Magento, see if they can find anything or know anything. The other thing, if you're not using madreport.com, you should be. I checked that. I have automated up, it emails me, but if you haven't gone to this site, this is a site that'll actually just quickly test your Magento site to know for any known issues. It also shows you if you haven't gotten your security patches in. And the reason that's important, now you may know you haven't put those security patches in, but if I can do it, if I can go to your site and go, "Oh, you didn't put in the shoplift security patch," and guess what? I just figured out how to hack you. So you have to do these things. Also, developer response plan. When I first got that letter, I had no idea what to do. Now, if I get the letter, I know exactly who to call. I know my first 10 minutes, and I think that's the biggest thing, is know your first 10 minutes on what you're going to do and make a plan happen. Now, from what I understand about Visa, especially with smaller businesses, they will help you. They won't shut you down, but they will give you some resources. But either way, if they shut us down even for a week, I would be in trouble. Develop security best practices. Sounds silly. If they got in and they got in through my admin panel, then they figured out some type of password thing. So I rotate my password every 3 months. Never thought about it before. I don't access my admin panel on Wi-Fi networks I don't know. So those little things may help, should help, could help, but I would absolutely have something in place at your company, and I would really limit who you allow in your admin panel. And ultimately, we were lucky because we did contain the breach in time. It never went anywhere further. But the ROI is immeasurable. You cannot spend enough, I believe, on security at this point in the world we live in, because the reverse, after trying to fix it afterwards, is going to cost far more. I went pretty fast, but that is about it. So I'm a one-man band. We're a small business. We leverage Magento Enterprise to provide a first-in-class e-commerce experience, and that's really important to me. I have a lot of pride in my company and my website. We are a market leader in what we do, though it is a niche business, but I want my customers to come on, and even though they're buying old stuff from World War II or the Revolutionary War, I want them to have an e-commerce experience like they're buying at a big e-commerce website. And Magento uniquely allows our business to grow and become more efficient because of the marketplace. Because when I needed a best-in-class email solution provider, I had the option to go to ListTrack or to Bronto or any of the other ones out there. When I needed an on-site search, I have the option to do that. If you're in a SaaS model, you're stuck with what they give you. Whether it works for you or not, that's what you're getting. And our technology ROI is well over 1,000%. I have no in-house tech team. And the biggest thing is, if I can do it, then everyone in this room can too. And that's it.